Hello everyone and welcome back. And in episode 2, we're going to discuss the firmament using scripture. We're also going to look at the foundations of the earth according to scripture. So without further ado, let's get right into it. And God said, "Let there be a firmament in the midst of the waters, and let it divide the waters from the waters." Genesis 1:6. And there's our first really big roadblock. The word firmament shows up in verse 6 of Scripture. We barely get started, and we're already faced with something that requires some major explanation. Now, this has naturally been explained many different ways in order to make it fit into people's preconceived notions regarding creation. I've personally heard from many sources that the firmament means sky or expanse. And the problem with those definitions is that, according to the way the word is used in Scripture, they're just wrong. And when speaking about the waters above and the waters below, I've also heard some explanations that are rather comical. I've been told that the waters above are the moisture in the atmosphere, and also that the waters above means the clouds. And again, the problem is that those definitions are wrong. They're easily proven wrong when we do a deep study on the word firmament. We'll talk about the waters above a little later. The word firmament is so interesting because it is a very specific word that was chosen. Some Bible translations have gone with man's opinion regarding the firmament and replaced the word with sky or expanse. And this is incorrect. And it shows that someone has attempted to make the scriptures fit the current scientific model when they simply don't. There are many translations, though, that have stuck with the word firmament, and some that have chosen to use a more modern term that still means the same thing, such as the Complete Jewish Bible. It says, "God said, let there be a dome in the middle of the water. Let it divide the water from the water." They replaced firmament with the word dome here because dome is a modern word that perfectly describes what a firmament really is. However, when we break down the word firmament using languages of the original biblical transcripts, we unlock an even clearer understanding of exactly what the firmament is that God created. So before we get into original Bible languages of the word firmament, some of you may be saying, well, what is a firmament? So let's look at the definition of the word firmament. And it simply means the heavens or the sky, especially when referred to as a tangible thing or a divider. So we have a word that means a physical, tangible divider or barrier, also known as the heavens or the sky, which tells us it is above us. Now we can dig into the original languages such as the Hebrew in order to get a more clear and a deeper understanding of the word. So the Hebrew word used for firmament is rakia, and it means an extended surface, solid, an expanse as if beaten out, absolute construct. So the vault of heaven or firmament was regarded by the Hebrews as solid and supporting the waters above it. Comes from the root word raka, and raka means to beat, stamp, beat out, or spread out. The Hebrew translation is what the original text would have used because Hebrew was the language at the time. However, we know that as time went on and as civilizations progressed, the Hebrew was eventually translated into Greek. And as the Hebrew was translated into Greek, the word chosen to replace rakia was stereoma. And this is another interesting word choice because it has a very specific and similar meaning. That which has been made firm, the firmament, that which furnishes a foundation, firmness, or steadfastness. As you can see, none of these definitions work with our current model. This would indicate that a solid barrier was created over the earth on day 2 of creation. And I'm sure you can see the problem here because Modern day science would tell us that there is no such construct. So let's dig a little deeper into the firmament with two more modern translations of the word. In Latin, the word firmament is firmamentum, which means the following: strengthening, support, prop, stay, or simply firmament. Now that brings us back around to the modern word used from rakia, which is firmament, and we went over that definition before we got started, which just simply means the heavens or the sky, especially when referred to as a tangible thing or a divider. But we don't have to stop with just the definitions of the word. We can also look to other scripture regarding the firmament in order to support the fact that it's a solid, tangible divider. We don't need to rely upon the definitions alone. The beautiful thing about the truth and the perfection of the scripture is that there are multiple witnesses within the text itself that we can draw upon for a further understanding regarding the firmament. So let's take a look at a few of those now.